give introduction. So that is the agenda of the today's meeting. So let's start. What is ITSM? Basically, as usual, I start with the basics. What is IT service management? Like any industry, IT also has a service management portion. Like if you are using IT for enabling the business, you will need the service to be managed at a particular level. Like what I mean by this is like any application, software, infrastructure, they should perform at or they should be at a state where they are able to support the business. So with respect to IT service management is like what level of service is being provided by the IT to the business, what are the key components, and how we can live up to that, and is it enabling the business, or is the business able to derive basically the value from the IT services. So that is the key ask. And this is like there are different portions in the IT industry. There's application development, application maintenance, service management, quality assurance, data science. So this IT service management is a key part of the industry, and it has been over the years like this evolved from the 1980s, like how IT service management was managed. Basically, this was managed on the ITIL based framework. ITIL means IT infrastructure library. That is a framework which supports this management. And there are at least there are four key components of this service management. One is the event management, incident management, problem management, and change management. What do you mean by event management is if suppose like you are using a banking application and you're not able to log in. So then you call the service desk, and if they don't respond you, then you escalate that ticket to a different level, and then it is respond. First, it is acknowledged response, then it is resolved, then it is closed, and then we have see the what is the root cause of the problem. So just to give a layman's view, if IT applications are not working as they are desired to be doing it, then we raise basically we go to the help desk and then try to see what is the issue and how it can be resolved. So, and there are different types of basically service desk tickets or which has generated. One may be proactive, one may be predictive, one may be prescriptive. Proactive means like today's world, it's not like what is 20 years back, like a database size becomes shrinks, there is no space in the database, then the database administrator will go increase the size. Now alert is thrown. And alert itself is there are so many tools like alert to alert is basically will create a ticket, and then there may be automated system which will basically help to improve the database size. So that is automated. So there are a lot of services with respect to event management and service desks which are automated in today's world. And there is one more level which is coming is like based on so many volume of ticket data or the issues what we have, which human brains cannot basically analyze and give a inference now, but the current AI or the machine learning algorithms, they can provide that insights to the help desk engineer and say that okay, this problem may be coming, just have a look at it, do a predictive maintenance or do a prescriptive maintenance, do these steps so that this does not happen. So that is the first part is event management. Event is basically any issues or any change in the system or which basically triggers to the which needs attention is not an event. So when then I will go to the part as incident. Incident is basically issues, what we call it as the issues which happens when you are using the IT system. So when issue happens, like you're not able to log in, or you're not able to you're getting 404 errors, or you're not able to access the application the way you want. So you raise an incident with the service desk, and then what happens is the service desk looks at that the why is that issue is had happened in the past, and then it sees that it can be resolved by SOPs and all that will be solved at the level 1. If they cannot resolve it, they will assign it to the level 2 engineer or incident manager to see what is the issue all about, why it has happened. So there may be various, suppose like your fridge may be not working, your TV may be not working, your gas stove may be not, but the issue may be same. It will be the current may not be there. That is the problem. That is the basically the root cause. That current is not there, all the equipments are there. So there will be many incidents which will be due to the same problem. But what happens is we have to first resolve the incident. Like if it is an isolated issue with the singular component, we can go and solve it, and then see if that is due to a larger what was the root cause of that incident. So that is known as problem management. and if we find the root cause, but that is done in sequence. Like it is not first we try to solve the incident so that the business is not impacted, and then we basically each incident or multiple incidents assigned a problem ticket or problem, and then there is a problem manager who will look at what is the issue so that it does not happen in the future. So every system is like it has to go for a continuous service improvement. It can't be same service being provided time and again. That's why the advent of AI has come. So do monotonous work should be done by machine, not by human being. Human beings should do something more creative, more rewarding, and which he likes. So if human being is not accustomed to doing same thing, if you tell the person 100 times to do the same thing in a day, he will make it irritated. But if you ask the machine, he's more than happy to do that. So all the repetitive works is being now moved to machines through AI. So that is all about like in event management, incident management, problem management. So I will give a pause before I go to change management. Do you have any question on these three things? So then is the change management. Suppose if problem finds a issue which needs a change, like in which is a software upgrade or a network upgrade, or we may need to change the server, or you may need to upgrade the PC. For that, there is change management. Change management process starts with what is the change required, who are affected, how it will be done, what are the steps to be taken. So this is the change management. This is overall, I've given a very short summary of this IT service management. This is all about the IT service management world, and this world resides on the ITIL framework. If there, I'll just give a pause again. If you have any questions now, we can ask, or we can take it later at the end. So I will move to the next slide. So what I spoke about ITSM is basically resides on this framework, IT infrastructure library. This is basically a standard which has been derived in 1980s and evolved over a period of time. Now we may have the ITIL version 4 as well. It is a framework. It does not fit like you have to do the same thing, but you have to basically develop, build, and move this IT support on this framework, like service strategy, what type of service you are going to provide, how you are going to provide, or what services you are going to provide. That part of service design. How will you transition the service? Like you can't start the service, the IT service today only, because you have to first basically do knowledge acquisition. Then you have to basically do a parallel run. Then you have to basically do the pilot run, or you have to see whether you are able to provide the service or not. Then there will be certain SLAs, OLAs, like service level agreements to be made with different vendors. Like you're running application which has a hardware component, a software component, middleware component, and all these component may be like you have Oracle database. So something which is customized on Oracle database, you may solve yourself, but something you may need Oracle support. So you might have signed an agreement with an Oracle company that, okay, if there is an issue, I will come to you and you will need your assistant to solve. So you have to do this type, all this basically set up to basically give a service which will support the business. So ITIL framework is basically self-explanatory. It's a framework. It is not fixed, but always we are looking for continuous service improvement. It's not that same service you can keep on providing on and on. Every month or every time you have to check what you can improve upon what you are doing now. So measurement, reporting, improvement, these are very, very important. And apart from that, see, this IT service management complies of three parts: people, process, and here technology is not so primary, because you sign an agreement with some other vendor, you have a shared operating procedure. Here process is above all, process, and then people is also very important part of IT service management. So these two are key, and then comes the technology. So these components basically comprise of the entire framework. And with this framework, we are able to basically scale up the service management framework, what we are trying to provide to the business to enable the to basically see what the application is performing, what is able to perform. So I'll give a pause now. If there is no further any questions on this slide.
SLA means what? SLA.
Service level agreement. What is that
So
SLA like? Yeah, go ahead.
that SLA, how that license is
So
SLA, how it's
SLA
work
is,
like?
see, SLA is like I have an application, and I have to solve this ticket in 10 minutes. Priority one ticket in 10 minutes. So I have an SLA, service level agreement, that
Okay.
I will solve in 10 minutes. If I talk,
Okay.
if I don't solve in 10 minutes, I breach the SLA.
Okay. So it comes under SSL certificate. SLA, that is different. SLA.
Pardon?
That is SLA means service legal agreement. Huh?
No, service level agreement. What level of service support? See, when you are working on application, you have response time. How much,
Okay.
suppose a ticket has been raised, you have to respond. Then you have to
Okay.
resolve. Then you have to see the what quality you have done resolved. So all these are measured. These are parameters. So you sign in before you start the support, you basically categorize. Like if a P1 ticket comes, and there are priority to the ticket. Like suppose your network is down, then you have to solve immediately. Suppose
Okay.
a component of the application is not working, then you take it 10 minutes or 20 minutes also to solve that. So it depends on criticality, what is the priority, and based on the priority there are SLAs involved.
Thank you.
This is a typical, like if somebody is interested, like how to do that, say, ITSM setup. Like there are different stages: initiation and planning. Like you study how the support is working. You can't start supporting day one. Suppose you want to do a setup of ITSM and then do the support. You can't do it day one. You have to go through different stages. You have to do planning. You have to do knowledge acquisition. Then you have to see secondary. You have to provide secondary support. Then you have to do primary support. Then we move to steady state. So this is very basically a typical ITSM support setup. I don't want to go in details with this audience, but had the audience been different, I would have discussed in more detail. So, so this is with respect to, if you have any question, let me know. If you still want to understand it, I will be more than happy to answer. This is now the as we move on to the AI ops. Now, what is happening currently, which I described, that human beings don't want to do the same repetitive job again and again and again and again. So that's why we are trying to basically move the monotonous works to AI. So currently, what has happened? IT environments has become very complex. So then human being not able to basically check everything. If your ticket comes, if you're not able to check the infrastructure, not able to check the network, you're not able to check all those things. Like human beings are more SOP driven, standard operating procedure driven, rather than basically they can extrapolate things in their mind and then solve. So what has happened is, when we have all this ticket data, so the AI applications or the AI platform, they can basically tell the help desk engineer the issue may be out of these three, this issue may be happen, or they can guide the still we need a human intervention, but it is not required for monotonous or the same routine job. Somebody asks for password reset, that may be now done by machine, or somebody wants a report, that can be done by machine. So now you see a lot of places you have chatbot, IVR, those are just AI in current support environment. So this talks about IT environment is getting human scale. This was what I was describing. The amount of data, like when you have the interface with data science on the IT ops environment, you basically get all the things. Like you get a lot of volume of data, then you have a lot of variety of data, and you have volume, variety, and you have velocity. There's the speed at which the data is coming. So these three things, what happens is impacts your IT ops. And now we are moving to AI ops, where still monotonous work or the routine work, which can be automated, like it does not require human beings intervention, it can be done by machine. But still, there is a layer always will be there. Like suppose you're talking to a chatbot, if you give a routine question, it keeps answering, but you just digress from the subject, or you try to tailor your question a different manner, then they will immediately direct that chatbot to a human being. That is, Mr. This person is X. The same thing is going to happen. More computing power has been moved towards the edge of the network, like it with the incident manager or with the service desk engineer, rather than earlier it was more on the core infrastructure. Developers have more power and influence, but accountability sits with the core IT. That's what I was saying. So, any questions on this slide? If none, I will move forward. Benefits of now, what was earlier happening is like we had so many dashboards basically to check like if application is running, if database is running, if middleware is running, if all the components are running. Now we can one dashboard. We have a lot of tools in the market, like we have Nagios. We have so many tools. Like we can just be seeing one dashboard. You can check all the 100 applications are working. What are the components? What is the states? Like your dashboard means you have a unified visibility of this all the application and its component on one place, and where from seeing that you can basically take decisions. So there is this is basically IBM survey which has given like what is the total data labor saving they talk about is 20%. Mean time to repair, this is a very critical parameter, like what is the time between the incident created and what the time it has been resolved. So, so due to the use of AI ops, they say that it has been reduced by 30%. That is, figures are just indicators. Improves accuracy of alerts. What was earlier happening, there are a lot of false alerts being created. But what has happened now, only the actionable alerts go to the IT engineers, and the false alerts are basically filtered out. So due to which there are a lot of labor savings and noise reduction, which it talks about like almost 50% there is reduction from their side. So on this. So the other one is proactive identification of emerging issues. So what happens is like if you see the database size is going to go down, or is basically the network, we are seeing that network is not stable. So these type of issues we can try to predict and try to resolve it rather than doing a post reactive response. Now it is a proactive response, and which basically tries to improve upon the service which is being provided by IT to the business. Sorry for the disconnect actually. There was some. So then next is data back service improvement plans. Currently you have, what about I was talking about AI, the IVR chatbots. These are basically example of database service improvement plans. Like you have like what you type in, based on that they check based on from by the machine learning algorithms and all, if how this issue are resolved in the past, and they can give some recommendations basically which will help to solve the current problems. Performance and capacity optimization, that already I told, like how currently today's world they can do a predictive or prescriptive maintenance rather than reactive maintenance. There is something called as reactive maintenance. What happens is something you fix it after breaking, that is reactive maintenance. Now before something breaks out, you go and basically try to see and fix it. It cannot be 100%, but it can be avoided to a large scale. Reduce time for RCA. Earlier what was happening, you have to collect this RCA means root cause analysis. You have to collect so many data points, and RCA used to take weeks or months together. Now due to advent of AI, RCA can be done very fast, and we have all the data points, and they can give the pointers that this may be due to this thing. Now you have to identify out of the 5 options, this is the option, and basically work on that, fixing that, and which in turn will solve the root cause of the problem. Efficient identification of potential optimization scenario. So based on this also, like based on the current ticket data, you can find out what are the areas which we can automate, like same type of issue is coming and which can be basically done by machine rather than human being. And so we can, with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, we can identify that and fix it. So, is there any questions on this slide? If none, we'll move forward. So I talked about AI, but AI and RPA is different. AI is, can you please put on mute whoever it is? So, so see, AI is different than RPA. AI is basically automating from, it is like from the IT process perspective, and robotics process automation is from the perspective of human being. If you are doing 5 steps, you are mimicking human. You see how a robot works. So robot is like, if you basically mimic the human actions, like suppose you are testing something, you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps, and you mimic that, you put a software which will mimic you, like it will go open this page, then after that, it's more on the process side. This automation happens, and this happens through tools. Like there are tools like there are tools in the market which mimic the human beings and they automate the work. So AI ops is, this is basically maybe a subset of AI ops, you can say, but this is more on the process side, and what human being are exactly doing, machine is doing the same. So this, how RPA is different is fast benefit realization. Like it can do things pretty fast. Minimal of, there is no upfront. Whatever current process you have, you keep the same process. Just you build a, there are so many market software. Just you align the process to the market software. They will mimic the human beings. They will do those, led by business with the support of IT. Highly scalable, because suppose you're asking human being to do a monotonous work 10 times, he may get, his efficiency may get down, and he may and also he may be, it will be monotonous for him. He will not like to do that. So if by going through RPA, this basically, this helps to basically remove the monotonous works from human being. So that is the big scale for this robotics process automation. And there are 3 components. One is the robotic, means that entity which capability to mimic the human actions, the process, the sequence of steps that lead to meaningful activity which is required to be done. And the third part is automation, the task that happens automatically through the tools, like UI is a big tool, and then UiPath is there, Blue Prism is there, IBM Watson, so many tools are there in the market. We do the RPA. I'll just give an example here. Suppose you currently, today's world, you go do an X-ray, and then you go to the radiologist who sees the X-ray and then writes to you like, this may be the issue. So current, what may happen in the future is based on the X-ray result itself, like what has happened, and the data which has been collected over a period of time by different peoples. The X-ray may guide you that, okay, you have this, you don't need a doctor. From this parameter only, the machine can guide you that these may be the issues, but still you need a human being to sign off on what is that. But identification or the problem can be done by machine. Any questions on this slide? So this is basically, I have tried to put this slide actually to basically have everything together at one place. You can see event management, service desk, incident management, technical management, request fulfillment, problem management, IT operation. If you know this slide, I can assure you that you can get a job. If you understand this properly and try to do some background information and understand. So first, what happens, I just want to give you like help desk support. How do you log in a call or log in a ticket, call, email, or alert? Then it goes to a L1 engineer. Like what he will do is he will solve the problem, straightforward issues in a standard operating procedure is solve the problem. If he is not able to solve the problem, he will assign it to level 2 engineer, where you need more analysis to that issues. And if he is also not able to solve that, 80% is 80-20 rule. 80% of the problem will be solved at L1 and L2 level. If only 20% of the problem will go to the L3 engineer. I'm sorry. So there where you need some coding skills or admin skills to solve the problem. Incident manager is basically overlooking at the entire creation of the incident till the resolution of the incident. He is the overall in charge to basically check it from the process side, like with respect to the SLAs, OLAs, response, resolution, See, so overall, he will take care of all this part. Then I've talked about problem and change manager. This may exist, may not exist. This role may be played by incident manager itself. So what is the problem? So each incident will be assigned a problem ticket, like, or multiple incident may be assigned a problem ticket, and how is going to be resolved. And there will be change required. There may not be change required also. That may be issue. Release manager is like, even in software development lifecycle, you have like you have to go for a new release, build and release to solve this problem. So, and compliance risk and QA, I've talked about that. There will be always a, like, you have to keep up, like you have to have a you have to have check the software, what are software compliances, people have proper access or not, what is the level of access. The admin access cannot be same as the access of the user, and the incident manager access may be different, like he may be able to update certain parameter of a ticket which L1 engineer may not be able to do that. So this is all I have put in one. And how this currently this is moving to to the AI platform. So now the service desk part is like creation of ticket and all is fully automated, or it's more or less automated. Monitoring part also is automated. Only when there is an issue, ticket is generated and then it's assigned to a level 1 engineer or a service desk engineer, and then from there the flow happens. So there are components of this process which already been automated, and we are seeing a big play of AI in the ITSM space. So let's try to correlate all these things together so that you know like what is required on the ITSM side with respect to AI ops. Any questions? And one more key thing I want to talk about is service level agreement and operating level agreement. Service level agreement, see, these are the KPIs. Suppose I tell that for a response time for P1 ticket, I will 95% of the time I will solve it in in 5 minutes, and 5% of the time I may miss. So this is a service level agreement, and to do this, I may basically have to internally set up an operating level agreement, like this ticket is resolved with the help of a third party company. So I need to be or a different team. So I have to have an operating level agreement with that team to solve this problem. Service level agreement is external, operating level is agreement is internal. So I'm talking about this slide. If you understand properly, in today's world, somebody is looking to make it as a career or finding a job. I think this is enough. If you understand this completely, you can defend any ITIL interviews. So next I will go to the jobs in ITSM and AIOps. So I've tried to basically put in what are the current jobs in the market, like help desk engineer. But they have reduced over a period of time. Now we don't have that much due to automation. So all the tickets are still, we need a help desk, but the tickets and all are created automatically, like through the tool, like they have ServiceNow or BMC Remedy. So there are so many tools in the market in the ITSM world which can help in creating the tickets. And then it is basically IT support engineers. I talk about the level one engineer, level 2 engineers. Like level 1 engineer, basically they will resolve the issues based on standard operating procedure. And many of these things may be automated with the advent of artificial intelligence. Level 2 engineers, basically they will need to do some analysis, and then only they can resolve the ticket. We need both process and technology skills for the support IT engineer. Incident manager is overall in charge of the incident from initiation till closure. So there are a lot of roles in the market with respect to incident managers. Then comes problem manager. I talk about, like, problem manager is basically for working on the root cause of the issue and trying to solve the problem. So that is the problem manager. Release and change manager may be played by the problem manager role, but it may require some software skills basically to see what is do impact analysis of the change and inform all the stakeholders and see if there is no adverse effect of the change, and then basically implement the change. So Then there is a larger scope is service delivery manager to take care of the entire, like you're transitioning a service and delivering, like somebody else is supporting now the ITSM, IT service management. You are taking that service management and trying to deliver out of your organization. So entire lies with service delivery manager. Then we have automation engineers. Automation engineer are basically the person who can use scripts or AI tools and automate the work of L1, L2, or L3 engineers. So that is the work of automation engineers. Then we have quality engineers. Like if you are resolving an issue, you can't do the same way all the time. So once you are doing, like if you got the first time, you solved it in 10, 20 minutes, or 10th time you get the issue, it's not happen. If it happen, you should be a different way to solve them. So they are also looking at the quality of resolution. And these are, I've written the market technology like artificial. You don't need to know all. One of them technology, if you learn, it will be good with your ITSM skills. And there for ITSM, we need definitely social skills and cognitive skills to scale up or to survive in the market, which is coming because you will be dealing with people always. So you need a lot of communication, conflict resolution, active listening. So not only, yeah, that's why I told in the beginning that people, process and technology. Here, people and process is over technology. So because technology, just there are tools in the market, you come and implement it like BMC Remedy, ServiceNow, or there are so many tools there in the market like with ITSM, and that's you implement it. But if you know it how to use properly, you know how to correlate, what are the stakeholders, how we can customize it for your requirement, how we can, so this social skill, yeah. These last two are very critical slides. If you want to know something more, let me know, or else we'll move forward. Any question? This is basically how help desk works. You see, like I just want to give overall view so that it is interesting. So you have infrastructure, you have business users, incident, like somebody asks for report, that is a service request. Somebody like your banking application, or you're not able to log in website, that is incident or call. Suppose what happens that the database goes down or network is not working, alert is generated by the tool, that is infrastructure. When it comes to level 1 help desk, level 1 helps desk try to resolve it. Is not able to resolve level 2 may not be the same team. Based on the issue, it may be different teams to be solve the problem. Then we have change release manager. Then we have the L3. L3 is basically like third party I talk about, where we have like to support the software or support the product, like you bought the BMC Remedy software or you have Oracle database, like you have to go to third party to solve the root cause of the problem. So that is level 3 support. Then we have SLA management problem. This is like a typical ITSM system, and if you understand this also, I think it will be great. Like you can try to build this as a career, and you understand from end-to-end perspective how the IT service management works. And everything is for business. You are doing this while suppose you are using a banking application, you need to do a transaction. That's why you're using it. So that is the key. Like if that application or the software does not work for the business, I think it's of no use. Anything? Any questions? Anybody? If none, then I'll move to the process flow. Basically, this is like what happens is like it is a typical. It's not a it's a typical, like what happens when you call email alert. It goes to the level 1 team. Level 1 team, what it does, it checks the SOP, standard operating procedure. If it is there, it will solve it. If it is not able to solve it, it will escalate to level 2 team. Level 2 team will analyze that. And if it is not in SOP, then it has come. But if we can do with their skill, each skill set for level 1 engineer, level 2 engineer, level 3 engineer is different. If level 2 are also not able to do it, it will escalate to level 3. If level 3 is also not able to do, they will find a workaround to fix the problem. And then they will fix the problem. So this is the overall process flow: level 1, level 2, level 3, resolution of incident, and then level 3 will see how we can automate this. It's like I've talked about data purge. Like if data has become huge, so they need to remove the data to get the right output or the right speed. So they will do that, holiday checks, manual runs. These are just small examples of the automation process which can be thought about on the level 1, level 2, level 3 support framework. This is self-explanatory and it's easy to understand. So if there are no questions, I will move forward. That's it, Wasim bhai. That's from my side actually. So if there is any questions from the team, more than happy to take.
Yeah, I think definitely there should be good number of questions. Mr. Salim, as you know, he has a vast experience. So please take the advantage. He's right with us. Please free to ask the question, or you can just put your question across the chat box. Mr. Salim, I think you can take any question related to IT, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It can be a generic question, no problem. I'll try to answer as far best of my abilities and knowledge.
Yeah. You have any questions related to IT? Please, there is one question from Dr. Abdul Qadir. Please elaborate on change management.
Yeah, so change management, so good question actually. So change management is very important. Like what happens is when you have an issue or incident, that basically, I'll tell you, give an example. Suppose what happened is like due to your network switch, you are not able to, it's not like it is not working, it is working, but is not giving the right throughput. So you have to change that network switch. You have identified this as a part of problem management. So once you identified it, that part of problem management, you have to do a change to basically fix the problem. But what you cannot do is you go and immediately replace it because there are a lot of dependencies. So you have to first see the impact of the change. What is the change? What is the impact of the change? What are the stakeholders involved? And then there will be a problem manager or change manager who will sign off on this. So change should not affect adverse effectively. That has to be the key point. If you are changing, it change for the good. So the process should be such that change should be a positive outcome rather than negative outcome. So that has to be controlled by problem and change manager in IT perspective.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you suggest some good universities for pursuing masters in data science or AI?
Rather than university, your skill. So data science and AI, if you know Python or you know we have to see what skills are required and based on the current market jobs. So that will help you rather than universities. So that's what I suggest. You see what is going on and you extrapolate like based on your analysis that what will be like if you what is your current qualification?
Graduate.
Okay, graduate. So you may do, see, like a lot of courses are there in master in data science, my masters, but you have to see what they are teaching. If they're teaching with respect to job in the industry, I think that will be helpful rather than going for something which is just a 30,000 feet view. So that I suggest that you go, data science is basically a very vast field. So there is a lot of there is a data gathering layer, there is data processing, and then you have the representation. So which area or what is your background? Based on that, you see what are the market jobs, and based on that, which is nearest to you or which interests you, you prepare yourself. I think that will help for a better career.
Thank you.
Welcome. Any other question?